What is going on, guys? I'm gonna jump straight into the point. So what's going on in Palestine right now is so bad because the Israeli government is going in because they feel like they have the green light, and they probably do from Donald Trump. We see that they're expanding their illegal settlements and occupying more land, kicking men, women, and children, elderly and sick people out of their homes and hospitals, and pretty much also killing them too if they refuse to move out, and building their illegal houses and settlements and shopping centers, whatever they build on it, or military bases to kill more Palestinians. If you look at their media, every other news segment, or I should say day, is should we invade this country or that country. They're a war-hungry nation, sadly. We see Donald Trump is siding with the oppressors and not the oppressed. And remember, what's going on there is so bad that even CNN is covering it. And before I play these clips, just remember, always side with the oppressed and never the oppressors, regardless of race, religion, gender, ethnicity, and etc. But go ahead and take a look at these clips.
Israeli officials today announcing plans to build 2,500 new housing units in the West Bank. The move comes as President Trump has invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a White House meeting next month, perhaps a sign that the new administration will be more supportive of Israel's desire, the Israeli government's desire, to expand settlement construction. Let's get right to CNN's Oren Lieberman, who's in Jerusalem. And Oren, what is the reaction of the Palestinian Authority to the news of these new housing developments and also the new relationship between the president and Netanyahu?
I would say the new relationship certainly worries them, and that's reflected in their almost immediate condemnation of the new announcement of settlement housing. This from Hanan Ashrawi, a PLO Executive Committee member. She says it is evident that Israel is exploiting the inauguration of the new American administration to escalate its violations and the prevention of any existence of a Palestinian state. Therefore, we urge the U.S. and the rest of the international community to undertake serious and concrete measures to bring about a full cessation of all settlement activities and to hold Israel to account. That reference right at the top to Trump is a growing concern among Palestinian leadership that the U.S. is no longer the impartial broker of peace between Israelis and Palestinians, that peace now may no longer run through Washington, and Palestinians have been looking to the international community more and more.
Oren, how is the White House responding to the expansion?
Well, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer was asked for a comment on the announcement of 2,500 new settlement units. And he basically said that Israel is a huge ally of the U.S. and they'll discuss it. He said Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump are meeting next month, and they'll talk about it. He didn't condemn it. He didn't criticize it, something we routinely heard when it came to settlement construction in East Jerusalem in the West Bank from President Barack Obama. It seems that's not the case here. If that criticism doesn't come, Netanyahu could see it as a green light for more settlement construction.
It does seem as though the Netanyahu government could not be more delighted with the new American president. There is this issue, however, about whether the U.S. Embassy will be moved to from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem immediately or not. Press Secretary Sean Spicer saying no decision made yet. Is there any pushback to that, any resentment at all, or is it just excitement about the new president?
Mostly excitement about the new president. It seems that those who called for the embassy to be moved immediately are now okay with the White House under President Donald Trump saying, hey, wait a minute, this one will take some time. Netanyahu has barely mentioned it, if at all. It's simply not one of his priorities. He wants to focus on the Iran deal, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict beyond that, perhaps some clarity on what Trump's attitude towards settlements will be. The embassy simply not registering high on Netanyahu's priority list here.
Yeah, I interviewed the Defense Minister Lieberman a few weeks ago, and he didn't seem to think it was a high priority either. Oren Lieberman in Jerusalem for us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Just days into the presidency of Donald Trump, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced a major surge in construction in West Bank settlements. Netanyahu said he and the defense minister have approved 2,500 new housing units in the West Bank. In a tweet, he said, "We are building and we will continue to build." It wasn't long ago, not even a few weeks ago, that Netanyahu said a new era is coming and it's coming soon, a clear reference to Trump's presidency. For Netanyahu, this now is that new era, and he's acting as if he has the cover of the Trump administration after President Barack Obama routinely condemned settlement construction. Netanyahu has been under pressure here from his right-wing government to advance settlement growth. Some politicians have even called on Netanyahu to annex parts of the West Bank. He rebuffed those calls, instead announcing this new construction. The defense minister said most of the units are in the settlement blocks, but about 100 units are in the settlement of Bet El. That's noteworthy because Trump donated to that settlement back in 2003. Palestinians condemned this settlement growth. Hanan Ashrawi, a member of the PLO Executive Committee, said it is evident that Israel is exploiting the inauguration of the new American administration to escalate its violations and the prevention of any existence of a Palestinian state. Israel hasn't advanced plans this large, this many housing units in the West Bank in years. And these plans come just one day after the White House seemed to back off one of Trump's major campaign promises to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. The White House press secretary said a decision hasn't been made on that yet. Oren Lieberman, Jerusalem.